Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Figma Metroid Dread SAMUS ARAN. And I have to say, I have to let you know, this is going to be a good video. Maybe because it's good, maybe because it's bad. I can't tell you ahead of time because then you wouldn't watch. But I'll tell you right now, it's because it's good. It's really good. Like, who is this company that made this figure? Because Figma has not made a figure like this before. Not that I've seen. And it definitely hasn't made a SAMUS like this before, and their SAMUS figures are some of their best, if you ask me. This one's better. This figure is chock full of incredible goodness, and I'm very excited to be reviewing something that is almost purely positive. Obviously, there's things we have to talk about. It is a review, but expect a little bit of gushing just because it is that good for my preliminary inspection. And I could be wrong, I guess. We'll see, but I don't think so. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Alrighty, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package. It's a different package than we normally get, and this isn't some kind of special edition or anything like that. I don't know if Figma is just doing this or Nintendo was like, make it better. I don't know what happened. But we have this outer sleeve. Pose is fine. A lot of black. Not my favorite, but it's fine. Same thing on this side. It's not exactly the most interesting thing. The back is what you would expect. That all looks good. Some figure posing. And then this side, which is the inner box, that's, again, more what you would normally expect. A little bit of metallic blue down there. I like that. Mine's got some kind of booger on it. Came that way. Not my booger. Don't care for that. But then we have the packaging, which actually looks nicer. I don't, of course, have the figure in there. But the regular standard Figma style packaging, I like more than the sleeve because we have the red space pattern, the figure pose there, and the figure window there. Nice pose here. Same one on the other one. There you go. And then some more of those. So yeah, it's a good package. I don't know why it has a special edition package sort of thing. You guys can let me know if you know, but there's my package. All right. As for the figure, we have to do a quick question of the day. How do you guys feel about the look of this suit? Not asking about the game. I know the game is generally regarded as excellent. What do you guys think about this suit? For me, you guys know I'm a classic type of guy. I prefer Super Metroid. Just want to put that out there. Her suit there, and I prefer the orange and red and yellow color scheme for her. But, however, if you're going to do a suit that is a different type of looking suit, this one is nice. It's a very good color scheme with the white and this kind of cobalty blue. Very good combo. And then adding the dull red in there still, which is classic, but it goes very nicely. It's a very well designed suit for her. It's a very good character design, and Nintendo is usually pretty good about that, so I'm pleased. This figure stands just about 15.5 centimeters. There's a touch over. That's going to be about 6 1/8 inches. Here she is up against everybody's favorite Marvel Legends figure. She is not in scale, clearly. Which is unfortunate, but obviously these are not 1/12 scale figures. All right, let's get into the aesthetic. Like I said, the character design is great, but did Figma execute well? Mostly. There are a few things that do irk me. The very, very, very first thing I noticed when I was opening this package is right here on her breastplate. You see that on that point? Mine has a scratch. That bothers me a lot. It's a tiny scratch, but it is scratched. That really bugs me. Obviously, that's not a manufacturing, I mean, it is, but it's a manufacturing thing that's going to be probably just mine, so you don't have to worry about that. But then we do have some issues like the paint down here on this white part. It shouldn't be sticking up like that. The white part stops, and so that's spillover for the paint. Could be a little bit cleaner here and there. There are some issues, but generally speaking, it looks very nice. This kind of satin metallic blue. Most of the painted parts are nice, especially the neon green ones. Very clean. That has a nice kind of glowing look to it. Up here, very, very nice. Love it. Most of it, those little details in there, most of it is really, really clean. It's a shame that front and center, I have an issue here and here. That kind of sucks. Her gun arm, very nicely done. There's a couple different colors there if you didn't notice it first. Looks nice. The yellow on there looks nice. Very, very good. And then we have the face. It's not the best visor we've seen from them. It's okay, but I think they've done a little bit nicer. Then again, I haven't played this game, so maybe her visor looks dull in the game, but it does look dull here. I didn't think to check that because I didn't know that was a thing, but we'll see. And then again, another thing that I'm not sure about because I didn't know to check it is that this is darker red right here, and it's obviously lighter red everywhere else. I'll check that and there'll be some notes on the screen, but as far as execution goes, it's very good. It looks awesome. All this paintwork over here is pretty darn clean. Not perfect, you can see some spillover, but it is not bad looking at all. Looks great, and I think the sculpt is spot on point sculpt. Love it, very nice. 9.5 out of 10. Those tiny blemishes are barely anything. I could go higher, but I do have front and center issues, so I think 9.5 is a fair rating. Now, as far as accessories go, we don't get a ton, but I think we get a really good spread. I'll start with the morph ball. Obviously, you do get that, and it is done incredibly well. This morph ball, it is probably more paint than a lot of domestic companies include in a whole wave of figures, and it's very cleanly done, very nicely done, very clever use of different plastics. I like that. We also get this kind of unique accessory where she's on a wall. So you have to take off her foot and her hand and then put her on this, and this is magnetic, so she can be on a wall. I don't know what the pose would be. I don't know. I'll have a photo for you. So you do get that. That's pretty cool. I like that. And then for hands, you don't get a ton. You get the fist hand, you get a kind of relaxed hand, and then you get a wide open hand. That is it. Nothing else. No thumbs up, no nothing. But I think that's going to be enough for her. You don't need the thumbs up every time. And you got a fist, an open hand, and you get the gun arm. So you have the normal gun arm, and then you have the upgraded one with the open slots and the thruster thingy on the back kind of thing. And it looks great. I love that. Very nicely done. Okay, and then the last thing, well, last set of things, is the usual Figma fare of a clear baggie to keep your figure in. You get the display stand, which is this, did they always have this? I don't remember it being a hexagon, I almost said octagon. I don't remember it looking like this, but I haven't had a good Figma in a long time, so I could be going crazy. But you get this, which is a nice thing. I like that they include that, but I wanted to talk about briefly one other thing, which is this. Normally, these are just, garbage. You don't need these, and I imagine most people throw them away or just never take them out of the package. I like that it shows you the usual stuff, swapping out the things, watch out for scratching, that kind of stuff. But it also shows you, it talks about the peg hole retainers, which are nice. I like that. We had problems with guts from Figure Arts the other day, but they have things like this in here, which is new, and I don't know that everybody who collects knows this kind of stuff. As a customizer, it's obvious, but I don't know if everyone knows this, and I've never thought to talk about it, but I'll mention it here briefly for those of you who don't own this figure. It talks about removing parts. If you're pulling on a hand that you need to remove, don't just yank on it straight. That's not what you want to do. You want to bend the wrist. Bend the wrist and then pull so that there's more resistance. It's a much better way of doing it. Same thing for the arm. You want to pull the arm off, don't pull it out straight. Bend the elbow, then pull it off. That kind of thing. And they also point out how the articulation works in a few areas, which is nice. I like that. It talks about tightening this. It's just nice. They seem to have gone the extra mile with this release, and I'm very pleased about that. As far as accessories go, I'll go 9 out of 10. A little bit more variety, and a blast effect I think would have gone a long way, but you do get a good spread. Why we don't get blast effects, I will never know, but it keeps people like me in business if we have time to make things like blast effects. Okay, so let's talk about the articulation. They went above and beyond for the articulation for what I've seen so far. The other SAMUS figures could pose pretty well, but they were lacking in a few areas. Let's talk about it. Let's pop the head off because I want to show you this. Ball socket, okay, that's a good thing. Floating neck piece, that's a good thing. Double ball peg, that's a good thing. I don't love that it's a bendy one. That's not my favorite way of doing it, but it does allow for some things. So I'll allow it in this case. It works okay. So that's fine with me. I like it. Double ball pegs, the way to go. Now it helps that this SAMUS has more neck than usual. So that's all right. But you're going to be able to pose this thing pretty well. Why is it not leaning up like it's supposed to? It was earlier. He was able to look up. There we go. Yeah, it works pretty darn well. I think that's a good joint. I don't like the angled peg, but that's okay. For the shoulders, we get a big ball peg and a butterfly joint that allows her to just bring her arms straight across. And they talked about being able to pull the arms out. Unless they're already out, I didn't mess with this yet. If they're not already out, where is it that happened? Where does that take place? Let's look at it together, because I was going to say, it has great range. To slide on the outside. I don't know. This, to me, looks like they mean pull it out, like a slip joint. But it might just mean that you can pull it forward, which I'm guessing is what it is, because it doesn't feel like a slip. Like, you can see it's not... It's just the butterfly, as far as I can tell. But that butterfly is... Oh man, it's what all the other Samus figures have needed. She couldn't hold her gun for crap before, and now she can. And it looks good. They nailed it. Who is this company? This is a lovely butterfly joint. Then you get a big ball socket and your hinge to let the arm move around however you really need it to. And her giant shoulder pads are on some convoluted ball peg, but it works. You can keep that shoulder right where you need it for all the posing. Now, I get it that the other suits would still be a little more difficult to do because they weren't as sleek and organic looking as this, but if this might be what they needed in order to have the impetus to make a Super Metroid, like, let's get the engineering worked out. They worked it out so well on this that I feel confident that they could do Super Metroid justice. But that shoulder is just glorious, and yeah, from some angles that gets a little weird, but you can hide it pretty damn well. I love it. I love it. This is well thought out. The shoulder works incredibly well. You get a bicep swivel up there, which is a little bit annoying because you get it right here too. I don't need both, but whatever, doesn't matter. You might have to finagle it a little bit if this gets turned around too much inside, but you do get your standard bicep swivel down here, so it doesn't affect anything else. Plenty of range. Still the ugly Figma elbow joint, but it's a nice matte black, so you're not going to notice it as much, and you are going to get really nice range out of it, so that's good. Little ball hinges for the wrist, they work just fine, just as you would expect, no problems there. For the torso, double ball peg. I mean, yeah, we could have bigger balls. It's always better to have bigger balls, and I'm not even making an innuendo. For this kind of articulation, bigger balls is better, but double balls is great. I love that. Let's see how it actually functions. Leaning back is okay. Trying to just do the top joint here. Leaning forward is okay. Side to side is pretty good, and you get your rotation. Down here, it shows a photo of just a through-A ball peg like usual, but there's definitely some weirdness going on. You see in there, you have a connection of this piece here to some kind of internal structure. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, and the way they've done this is you can't really see inside, which is a good thing, but let's just see how it functions. I don't want to risk pulling on things I'm not familiar with. So it does lean back pretty well, nice and seamless, by the way. Leaning forward very well. So once you get that bottom joint in, it works nicely. I like that. And then it doesn't appear to have any extra side to side here. So just be aware of that. And it doesn't appear to rotate at the bottom either. But you should, in conjunction with this top joint, have all the range you need. Now for the hips, it seems to be pretty standard. Ball socket, so you can do this thing here, where you spread out the hips, or you can leave them in to have that seamless look. So I think that's pretty good. As far as range goes, you have the V here that's pushing the leg out to the side. That's not ideal. You can kind of pull it out to get it to go forward, so her hip gets wide, but from the front you can't really tell, so the leg is mostly going straight forward. I think that's okay, and if you want to, you can get really crazy with it. It'll work. Going out to the side, not the best range, I have to say. Practically speaking, it's enough. I always say it's better to have more than less. I'm okay with this. I don't often need to be able to do the splits, especially if it's not a martial artist. This will do. It could be better, but you get decent range there. And then, of course, you do get your thigh swivel down there, so that's fine. The knee is not a Figma-style knee like the elbow when they normally do that. It's a better, much better knee. Watch from behind first. All right, so that's the top joint. And then you get the bottom joint where the whole calf tucks in on itself. I don't speak English anymore. And you get a really, really nice knee joint that just looks wonderful. It functions wonderful. I'm a happy camper, and I don't even like camping. Now the ankles do some things really well and some things not as well, but I do want to show you. You have this big piece here that is on a very loose hinge, which is fine because it's just supposed to get out of the way. No problem there. Let's make sure it's in frame. Then you have your toe hinge, which works really nicely. That's good. Now watch this. Look at that freaking range. That's incredible. I love it. And then going back, less. That's less incredible. I don't love that as much. It's enough, but I think it could be a little bit better. This piece here does move, so that'll kind of get out of the way if you need it to. You do get rotation if you need that, though you really shouldn't because that's not really a human thing. And then you get your ankle rocker, which is where we kind of lose it a little bit. It's fine, but it's not great. So some things really well, some things just well enough. So that's it for the articulation. It's, in some places, definitely satisfactory, but not impressive. But in other places, really, really impressive. Like in the shoulders. I love it. In the neck, it's great. The arms are going to be no problem on this SAMUS. It's wonderful. I'm going to give the articulation on this figure a 9.5 out of 10. You really shouldn't have trouble posing it unless you're trying to do the splits. That's it. It's nice. It's really nice. And I'm so... Oh, I forgot to show you. This arm, it's the same joint as the other arm. And that's the range you get. So not as much range as you might want. I don't know how they could have really gotten around it too much without having this kind of fold in or something, but it's still probably good enough. She just can't get it like all the way up, but 1 in 5 guys. Okay, so like I said, really, really good. I'm happy they figured it all out on this figure, and it really makes me want them to do a, I forgot there's one more joint. They put so much into this. Really want a classic Super Metroid SAMUS. There's a thigh swivel down here too. I don't know what you're gonna really need that for, but you do have it, and it's implemented very nicely. And now I don't think I have forgotten anything. I think I've covered it all. Excellent, excellent release. I'm glad I got this before the end of the year because this definitely deserves to be on that top figures of the year list. Very nicely done. I'm gonna give this an overall rating of 9.8 out of 10. And I'd go 9.9, but we don't have a blast effect. You really, really should have included a blast effect, Figma. Good smile. But that being said, it is by far one of the best figures I've reviewed this year. Not just because of recency bias. This thing is great. Tell me where I'm wrong. You can't. And so there it is, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.